tried to cage my spirit, bear me in chains. I feel the fire rising where my heart used to ache. Breaking through the ashes, watching through dawn of day. Shadows shout their warnings, but I keep moving on. Digging for my justice till the break of dawn. Rise up like a phoenix, right at dawn's first light, tearing off my blinders, scorching through the night. No more chained by rumors or the poison lies. I'll find my freedom when the truth will rise. For whatever, onward, never looking back again. Stamping out the darkness, feel the roaring wind.
Echoes of the doubters trying to slow my pace. Thunder in my footsteps, feel the wind I chase. Chains can't hold my spirit, justice is my crown. I'm riding into sunrise, claiming every town.
No fear in my reflection, shedding every guise. In the roar of freedom's chorus, hear my battle cry. I'll rise up like a phoenix, riding North's first light, tearing off my blindness, scorching through the night. No more chained by rumors or the poison lies. I find my freedom where the truth will rise. Forward ever, onward, never looking back again. Stamping out the darkness, feel the roaring wind.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, hey, hey. It is a special night. Someone asked me if I was going to go live and bring you some amazing new things. And sure enough, I am. And then someone told me that Dot was on Birdie. Okay, so I don't know what's going on over there, but that is quite interesting. And one thing for sure is Idaho, if you didn't know by now, released new documents. And we are going to review those documents live firsthand. It was released earlier today. And this is forensic documents, something that we all have been waiting for. So if you know, oh, she just got on. Okay. Well, what a surprise. I don't know the whole story behind that, but I am more likely excited to dive into these forensic documents. Amanda B, thanks for showing up in the house. She just got on. Good day. I have something good for us tonight. Always have something good for you guys. I have not seen most of these documents. I skimmed through them while we were taking part of the festivities and passing out little treats for the cutest little trick-or-treaters I've seen in a long time. You guys, there was this little girl and she had to have been at least 5 or 6 and she was dressed up like Wednesday and she was so freaking cute. So freaking cute. So let me do this. I'm going to share this stream. Let me hold on. Remember, if you go to Justice for All, let me throw this up on the screen for you. If you go to Justice for All and you click down into documents, if you go under Brian Koberger right here and scroll down all the way down to where it says ISB and past MPD, you're going to go right to ISP, download those documents. They are right here on the bottom, new forensic documents released. I'll make sure they get up there first on the website. I have downloaded them and we are ready to rock and roll. Sending love and light to all you wonderful people. Thank you. Thank you, Jay Ronan Boomer. Hey, happy late night. We just got done with all our festivities. Myra, welcome in. Dina, good to see you. All right, so let's get into this. Let's see what these documents hold for us tonight. This is wild. So these are forensic documents. So I'm going to pop them on another screen and show these to you, and let's rock and roll. So some of these I've seen, some of these I haven't. I went to the fair earlier tonight, seen a little girl in a candy wearing a Wednesday costume. This little girl was so freaking cute. There is this little Spanish girl that came by, and she is so cute. I said, "Oh, how cute are you?" And she looked like she didn't understand me in English. So I told her, "Oh, bonita. Que bonita." And she just was lighting up and smiled and waving at me and all that good stuff. So it was just so cute. Now, I don't know what this is right here. That looks like a Mickey Mouse. Oh, I know. Right there. I kept saying it looked like Mickey Mouse on this page. Okay, so that little dancing skeleton in the bottom corner, ignore that. So one thing I noticed, and I'm not a big abstract person, but when I see something, it's just so difficult to unsee it. It is so difficult for me to unsee things. And I have got to find my chapstick. Here it is. All right. So hopefully all you little trick-or-treaters out there got lots of candy or gave lots of candy. I gave out pretzels, medium-sized candy, and some Welch's, those little gummy snacks. And those were really good. So we had a ton of trick-or-treaters, but I'm going to blow this up a little. I think it's the max it can get. Have you guys ever seen the logo for ISP? I just can you guys imagine having a logo? And I get it. There's a little DNA chain, skull and bones. I don't know what that document is. There's pills, crime scene, forensic fingerprints, firearms, and then the state with 3 stars. So weird. Just so weird. I get it. It's the ISP, but all right. So let's see what we've got here. Some of these I've seen and some of them I have not seen. And has anybody looked at these? I want to get a feel for this chat. I know there's just a few of us here. I know there's a lot of other people that you could be watching that are live, and I just can't do the drama stuff. I love some creators, but I just can't always do the drama stuff. I can't. But to each their own. And let's just take a look at these docs together. Let's just see. All right. So, wow. All right. So, this is wild. Just looking at this document. You didn't get any trick-or-treaters? Wow. Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate you. Yeah. Hey, Caleb, thanks. You didn't get any trick-or-treaters. Well, you didn't miss out much. Chocolate is expensive this year, like always. I picked up those little individual package of pretzels, and it's a money-making business out there, especially for the dentist, in my humble opinion. So let's see what we got here. This is the Moscow Police Department submitting agency. That's the case number right here for Brian Koberger. And the offense is murder, and the date of the offense is 11/13/22. That's what that code is for the offense. And this is the case file. Firearms ATF. Yep, ATF. All right, skull and bones, right? Interesting. So what I find interesting is these case names. Y'all, I have never seen such a huge case with all these names. Look at these redacted names except for the suspect, Koberger, Brian. But look at all these redacted names. This is freaking huge. So you mean to tell me, just in looking at this first page, you mean to tell me, ISP, MPD, that Koberger's name came up on December 19th under testimony by Brett Payne of the MPD, and all of these names have been redacted that were in the case with 4 labeled victims. 4 victims, and all these redacted case names. And they narrowed it down to 1 individual, and all these other people have nothing to do with the case. So I know that this is a big ask, but you all know my chart that MPD basically gave us the answer when I said, look at all these people that were labeled as involved. And I'll go back to my chart that I made a while back. All these people's names that were, oh, what did I do with it? Hold on, let me go grab it. All these names that were involved. Here's my list. Check this out. Involved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 individuals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 individuals they categorized as involved. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that were mentioned in the case. So that's 19. 19 people. So when you look at the ISP document and you think, are those the 19 people? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, so there's 23 people on ISP. So Moscow is missing 3 people. So when you look at this document, I'm just shocked at this case that 1 person was named to do this. There's just no way. I mean, the FBI stats that I shared with you a long time ago, you are more likely to be murdered by an associate or business partner. And that is the facts. The facts. And how could they only say 1 person is guilty of this is beyond me. I don't know. Okay, so I'm looking at page 3 of 2,356 pages in this that was released today. This is a huge, large file. And something that just caught my eye on page 3 is item 2159. Evidence was sealed and did not appear to have been tampered with. However, there were no initials on the seal, which breaks the chain of custody. I place a piece of evidence tape perpendicular to the seal, initialed and dated it. So let's see. I'm going to use my Control F, and I'm going to see if I can find item 2159. 2159 was looks like a DNA swab, and it was labeled 61, and that is the only thing we know from there. So someone got DNA that had no chain of evidence. No chain of custody. Interesting. I wonder what 2159 is. They received it on the 13th of December, way before Brian Koberger's name was mentioned. Way before. And then another one by Blaker says that it was Evidence was sealed. Initials in place did not appear to be tampered with. However, only strapping tape was used without evidence tape. I placed a piece of evidence tape perpendicular to the sill and initialed it. Items 111 through 119 are items associated with this submission. They had to be manually entered due to a case creator error. All right, so that's something that I'll look into right here. Let me go and look and see if I can see items 111. Hold on a minute. Let me go back. But I say item 111. Let's see what it is. If it'll find one. Here we go. Interesting. Item 111, floor mat from Brian Koberger's vehicle. Trace material on floor mat from Brian Koberger's vehicle. And it said that item 111 to 129. 111 to 119. So all of these right here was the one that was notated. Seatbelt from the vehicle. Brake pedal, and I told you they took his car apart, guys. They did. Seriously. In Pennsylvania, they took his car apart and brought it back in pieces. It wasn't like they brought his whole car back yet. So they took the seatbelt, the brake pedal, the gas pedal, gloves in room K. That was one of the rooms inside the Lamston property in Pennsylvania. A pair of Spidey gloves, heat holder glove, beanie, and baklava in room K. Beanie, baklava, pair of Radian gloves from K, gloves from Beanie in room, pair of spider gloves, Dickies beanie, Hyundai key fob for, key ring. Wow. So they're saying that he indeed had a baklava, guys. They're saying that this was evidence from his vehicle. Wow. Remember how I kept saying, I want to see the evidence? I want to see the evidence. Show us the evidence. I mean, just because he had a baklava doesn't mean that he's guilty. Doesn't mean he's guilty. And they were presumptive chemical tests for the presence of blood. All these items were negative. Negative. Bingo. Items were visually examined. No stains consistent with blood were observed. No further examinations were conducted on these items. Trace evidence was collected from 111, but was not examined at this time. And that was the floor mat from his vehicle. Was not tested at this time in this document. So it says right after that on page 2, if DNA testing is desired to 111, then they'll go ahead and submit it. If they desire, item 1111.1 has been returned to the main laboratory as evidence. And it looks like pretty much everything on 323 negative. So they had these items of interest in March of 2023, and they didn't have any DNA. Nothing visible. Presence of blood were negative, and trace evidence was collected but not examined on the floor mat. Isn't that wild? I'm blown away. That is interesting. I mean, what would you think a prosecutor would do after they get a report like that back? I mean, seriously, as a prosecutor, what would you do if you arrested someone, good suspicion to arrest them, and then you find out your labs are coming back and nothing has been found? What would they do? Factually innocent. Plus the bullshit about Molly McMeth, DoorDash. Yep. Yep. We can suspect that video had been tampered with, and you see by their own admission they spliced and diced. They did everything they could. I believe it. Look at that. So let's see what else these reports say. These are all samples. These are swabs. These are references. And we'll come back to that. It doesn't look like much yet till we get down into the nitty gritty or the meat and potatoes of these reports. So here's some more suspected, more data, more data. I didn't get down this deep, so I don't know if there's any pictures. Here's some more reports. Victim, 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 victim. Dustin Blaker is the investigating officer. That's legit. So they have the lab number 1, the K-bar sheath with USMC logo. And I know there are pictures in here. This is all laboratory reporting. And notice how they have a suspect blanked out, another suspect, or subject, I should say, two other subjects, and then the victims. And it looks like they have some pictures for that. Suspect, 2 subjects again. Another report. This is evidence. Okay, cigarette. Oh, wow. Holy moly. Did y'all see this? It says, let me see if I can make it bigger. It says cigarette butt found bottom of entry stairway next to where subject right foot was. Well, who's the subject? Right where subject's right foot was. Whose right foot? The subject, there's 2 subjects we don't know of right here. You guys can see this. Right here. Oh, sorry. I made a boo-boo. Let me fix that. 2 subjects right here. I'm going to highlight it. 2 subjects right here. Oh, wait. 3. Wait a minute. How'd they get another subject? There's 3 subjects. What the heck? 3 subjects. 1 suspect. Check this out, guys. I'm going to highlight this a different color. 1 suspect. 3 subjects. Is that why they say he took a cigarette break? Okay, but listen. This report clearly says the subject's right foot. Cigarette butt found on the bottom of entry stairway next to where subject's right foot was. Was there... Who was the other... I don't get this. There's a suspect. They arrested. Then they have subjects. So whose cigarette? Let me look down at this report. They were watching Cruz smoking outside his apartment at stairs. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. That's right. Okay, so that must be when they were trailing him and then they went and picked up his cigarette butts. Okay, that makes sense. Cigarette butt found on the right corner of walkway where he meets the stairs. Got it. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So they were monitoring Cruz because if you watched my live, I covered the Pullman release documents. In those release documents, there were 2 people that they were suspicious of that could have created or done this crime or involved somehow, some way, per the documents. And in one of the documents, it was some guy, homeless guy, that was living out of his car, and they tell the story. They go out there, they try to get his DNA. And then the other guy was what I call from the Pullman Four. So there were 4 girls going to college, some were working in Pullman, all lived together at one house. We did all the background of it. And there were tons of video cam documents on this guy who they suspected broke into this house with these girls. And so they had a report that they could go by and say, okay, we think that maybe this guy was involved. Let's trail him and tail him and see maybe if he has any involvement in this atrocity on King. And so they go and they surveillance him, and they pick up his discarded cigarette butts. So I'm sure they went and tested his DNA at this crime scene to see if perhaps, like a benchmark, to see if he was involved in this. So that's probably what that is. You're right. Good job. So this evidence is blood swabs, blood from yada, yada, yada. And let me go back to this previous report real quick. I want to see if I can find this exhibit number anywhere in this document to see. Nope, doesn't exist, only once. Well, that was worth a shot. I want to see if anything's logged in under those. All right, so let's check this out. So they've got a glove, a blood swab, and a blood swab from the entry, hallway, kitchen, the hallway wall, and kitchen wall. Entry, hallway, and kitchen wall. Interesting. Yeah, okay, guys, I understand. It still doesn't answer about the picture they took of the butt in the yard, though. Absolutely. I think maybe they benchmark them against the two. But honestly, in my humble opinion, there's a picture out there floating around that I have seen, that you may have seen, and that's David Loach on the back porch smoking on the couch. All right. So, can you say without a doubt that he was there? No. But if old cigarette butts were there, then he has a history of being at the house, right? So that doesn't make him a suspect, right? Let's see what this report is. This is DNA from 1, 2, 3, 4 people. So thank God they took their own DNA, especially with the debacle with the Moscow Police Department. Oh, yeah, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Okay, so let's see what this says. Moscow Police Department. It's redacted big time, and nothing is there. Nothing. But look at all these subjects on here. So they've got 2 suspects right here. Check this out. 2 suspects, one named Brian Koberger, and then they have subjects. Let's just see how many subjects they have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Probably everybody they swabbed. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 subjects that they got DNA from. That is a lot of people, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4 victims. Wow. So they got all these swabs. More swabs. I don't even know if they even give us any answers here. Of course, it's all redacted. More swabs. Jeez. More swabs. Oh my gosh. This is wild. I've never seen any case like this before. So they got prints from the kitchen window right here. Second lift from kitchen window. Third lift from kitchen window. Why do you all think that there were handprints on the windows outside? I'm just curious. They got a print lift from the kitchen sliding door, lift from the front door lock, and a swab from someone. 22M2129. Let me see if I can find this. Let's see if anything matches. Nope. All right. Let's see. Fight Club? You think they Fight Club? I mean, why would there be window hand marks, prints on the windows outside? Yeah, it does say. Yeah, that one's too long. I believe it was Halloween decor that they never cleaned up. Possible it was so close to 2 weeks out. They were tiny hands, definitely a girl, and they had dusted the prints. Been there a while. Probably. Yeah, I mean, you could rule it out. They were tiny handprints. So it could have just been Halloween. So let me see. They've got more swabs, more swabs. Empty beer can. That's the Keystone guy. Backpack found in living room. Had full of beer cans. Yep, we already know that. We saw the pictures and they were poking out. Empty beer can on vanity. Second, empty beer can on vanity. Wonder if they're ever going to tell us the story. Was this a crime of passion, guys? If you had to take a guess, do you think this was a robbery or a crime of passion? If you had to choose between the two, would you say it's more likely to be a crime of passion or a robbery? Drop your thoughts below. If you had to take a lucky guess. Yep, that's an option. Neither. Okay, we got some answers. Crime or robbery. I think crime of passion. I think a robbery. Crime of passion. Passion. Ritual. I would have to search through thousands of photos and my brain hurts from these dang documents. Oh my gosh. Okay, so they have the blue powder on the desk. Unmeasured. Controlled substance analysis. I don't think they're going to give us any answers in these documents, folks. Honestly, I really don't think so. I think it's a wild goose chase at this point. They're not going to release anything because he could ask for a post-conviction relief, and anything more that they release, that it will only help him. So let's see where they got all this blood from, because everybody keeps saying what blood. Let's look and see what they documented. But then again, I think a crime of passion. Crime of passion, maybe neither. Crime of passion. But then again, prison shank attacks look similar. Yeah, I'd have to agree. I have a relative who was a LA County sheriff. And honestly, yeah, it looks like maybe being shanked. I feel like rugs were planted. Definitely on Outcast. He did the sound from 4 a.m. and I clearly hear a female say, check in Maddie's backpack. Wonder what they're looking for. They threw us off on purpose. Possibly. Yeah. So they say there's a blood swab from north stairwell wall that already tested for blood positive. It's positive for blood. Blood swab from halfway door tested positive for blood. Blood swab already tested. It was positive. You got another positive. Smear on the living room table, positive. And from the edge of the third floor already tested, we knew that it was positive. So that's the third floor and the second floor. And those are the only places that tested positive. And this one right here. Blood swab from floor stain inside doorway, west bedroom, marker R, already tested for blood. Now, what room was that? West bedroom from floor stain inside doorway. Doesn't tell us which one. That's west bedroom, marker R. Let's see if I can find a marker R. Hold on. That's not going to let me do that. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if it'll let me copy this. Marker R. Now we got to find the guide to tell us what it is. Nope. All right, here's the stain. It says number 78, biosuspected stain, swabs, blood swab from floor stain inside west bedroom, marker R, already tested. So let me see if I can find it. Nope, there's no other R. Marker R. Nope. Let's see what this one is. Marker R is floor of west bedroom. It doesn't say what floor. Floor ISP D2 marker 37. ISP FS marker R. Hold on, let me see. All right, let me see this report. Second floor west. Second floor west is Dylan's room. Let me verify that. Speculated. This is speculation. Let me grab my notebook. Where is it? Here it is. Give me 1 second. Let me grab my notebook and a pair of glasses. Got a pair of glasses. All right. Hold on a minute. It says second floor west bedroom, and I got my diagram here. Nope. Second floor west bedroom. No, hers was on the east. So second floor west bedroom would be Xana's room. So inside doorway of west bedroom on floor 2, marker R. So that's in Xana's room. Let's see if it finds anything else. Presumptive. It already tested. So here's the odd thing about all this blood testing. It already tested marker R. And that is the oddest thing, because and they redacted it. Dang it, item 99, 4 centimeters long brown hair from blank. Here's what I don't get. Here's the odd thing, is that they're saying all this blood was on the second floor with Xana, and they've tested it, and it was positive. But Hunter didn't have any blood on him, not on his clothing or his shoes, and he went in to check her pulse. Don't you think that's odd? Don't you think that's odd? Maybe that's why they're not interested in the results. So redacted. So freaking redacted. Let me go back to the original where we found it. All right. This is wild. All right, let's see what else we find. Lots of subjects. What did this say? Hold on. FBI, 2 Band-Aids from Pennsylvania, 1 straw, 2 earplugs, lollipop stickers, sticks and wrappers. This was from Brian Koberger's house. All the stuff he collected. Do you guys know that there were 4 bags that they collected? 4 trash bags. All this stuff they collected was 4. It could fit in 4 trash bags. 4. And there's no DNA out of 4 trash bags that match anywhere. This is wild. This is wild, folks. But in order to have 4 people unalived, and this is the evidence we're seeing, it makes me feel like they are in witness protection. Allegedly. This is just a humble opinion. There you go. This is what I'm seeing. If they only had some of this test and Hunter didn't have any on him, where's all the blood? And all these people act really weird about where the situation happened. I mean, if this happened to my friends, I would just be, especially my best friend. I mean, everybody grieves in different ways, but if this was me and my best friend, I would be like, I don't know. I don't know. So why did Xana's best friend lie to the police? I mean, there are like 3 blatant lies, one after the other, and then 2 different stories, one on the document and one in the interview. So why are people lying? Okay, the Holly Berry. Yeah, and they more than likely. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go back a minute. Hunter had no blood. Yeah, he should have if he checked. Even kneeling down on his knee. Yeah, I mean, he would have had some type of blood on him if he checked her wrist. As many as the descriptive of the autopsy report from MPD and other places, he would have had some type of residue left on him. Yeah, that's possible. Very possible. Yeah, I know. I've seen pictures of it. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so let's see. Major crime prints. Cutting of reddish brown pillowcase. That was from Koberger. All that was from Koberger. And still nothing. All that was from Koberger. All right. Floor mat, suspect, vehicle. We already talked about all those. Still no DNA. All those items. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. All right, let's keep going. FBI swab from brake pedal, gear shift. Those are all swabs. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's weird. This is weird. That is very weird. Wicca Wicca. You called it. Elimination prints from, okay, so they wanted to eliminate someone. So they eliminated 23M051. Doesn't say what they were. No elimination prints requested. Doesn't tell us what they were. Of course not. That'd be too much to tell us the truth. Allegedly. Oh, why would they want to do that? Let's see. Turn signal assembly, gear shift knob. That's so they could line up the GPS. What if they had an idea who it could have been and that car didn't have GPS tracking, and they thought, oh, we're just going to check his so that we can rule him out, or we could blame it on him. Okay. Here is the green and pink jacket, which tested presumptive blood for proteins, which luminized using blue star. Area which luminized was front zipper. Now, all you people out there, it was supposed to be Dylan's jacket, allegedly. They gave it to her in her items. Okay. And then they wanted it back for testing. And guess what? Guess what? People were out there saying maybe she cut herself, or maybe it was from her lady time of the month. It's on the damn zipper. They were testing around front zipper. So you definitely, I mean, wow. I'm just going to say wow and leave it there. I mean, what could it possibly be, y'all, when you see that? Tested on the front zipper. Let's just leave it there. Tested on the front zipper. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. And let's see what else. Wow. It's like they give you a little tiny bit more information. Just a tiny bit. Exemplars, they were tested. Let's see what this is. So many people that are subjects. 3 exemplars were comparison only. Yeah, so what if those little prints on the windows were from Halloween and it was Bethany's? What does that mean? Nothing. Item 913. What is item 913? Let me see if I can find item. Item 913, comparison only, 1 of 2. Ooh, I think we got a bingo. Let's see. Fingerprint. Latent fingerprint. Item number 137. Item 913 was a fingerprint. Interesting. Interesting. 913. Some fingerprint. All right, let's go back. These are all custody reports. Chain of custody. That's so much stuff. Evidence storage. Let's see. This is Candy Floria, you guys. She worked at ISP. She wasn't the person who walked with, right here, you'll see her little name. Right here, Candy. So she didn't walk home with 2 of the sorority sisters. All right, so this is all from Brian Koberger. Oh, interesting. Possible hair found inside shower curtain drain, tested presumptive for blood. ISP marker 119. All right, so let me just say, major crime prints. This must have been Brian Koberger's apartment, because then it says cutting of reddish brown pillowcase. They did that at his apartment. Tested presumptive for blood. Well, he could have had a pimple and it popped and it left blood on the pillowcase. Dark red counter swab tested presumptive for blood. So when they test presumptive for blood, could it be even when you're like, let's say you have steak and it's like bloody steak? Is that one of the ones? I mean, is that possible? Would that test, or are they looking for different proteins in human blood than in animal blood? Because you know that Koberger's vegan, so why would there be presumptive blood unless he cut himself in the kitchen or nosebleeds? Yeah, he is. Okay, so that could be just one of those odd one-offs. Or he had somebody over that does eat steak and who knows, sushi, I don't know. I'm just saying. Um so let's see. Seat cushion cover, Latah jail. Looks like they just collected that. So I wonder why they wanted to subpoena. They did. Candy Florea. Different protein. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. So, oh, yeah, possible, Caleb. Very possible. Oh, I need my jacket back. Never mind. It's not mine. Yeah, right. Whoops. Not mine. And her mommy says no. Doesn't look like hers either. Presumptive means it's possible. Absolutely. I, you know what? I said this before, and it's odd. They were on the right track. They were surveillancing. It led them all the way to Boise, and then all of a sudden, they stop. They stop. I think they stop because of whose name may have been involved. But they just stop. And then they have to come up with someone else's name. Wicca Wicca, I agree. I totally agree. And after the festivities tonight and all that stuff with the kid and doing everything, I jumped in the shower and I did not put my moisturizer on and my face is so dry. So give me 1 second. That's crazy. I mean, if you think about it, they went all the way down to Boise, trailing a white car, a silver car, and I think a blue car. 3 individuals. And it's weird that they had 3 suspects prior to this. And they did a extensive, I mean, the FBI went to people's houses unannounced, obviously, surprise, surprise. And they're shocked and they're telling other people like DM, thanks. I had the freaking FBI at my house because of the knife sheath that we ordered. Like, what is up with that? And then all of a sudden, yeah, they got the call. And then they said, yeah, we're not pursuing this lead anymore, this avenue. Yeah, they told us there was a mixture of blood on the sheath. Yeah, it disappeared from the documents, right? It disappeared from the documents. Now, I'm not going to say that Rosie and Tesdall were suspicious. I'm just going to say that, and that's one thing a lot of people know, because the FBI didn't have jurisdiction over this. They said that they would not get involved federally. Yeah. No, the FBI wouldn't have the final say, but they could surely be investigated why they didn't handle the case and investigate. And here's the crazy thing. Not only did they get, you are so spot on. Not only did they get that $200K, but they also got the $1 million for security from Governor Little. I mean, yeah. They got the money from $1 million for added security in that area for the university. Yeah, absolutely. Warm fridges, hell froze over, things disappeared. And I'm not going to say that Rosie and Tisdale weren't suspicious. Yeah, they are, especially when, where's Rosendal's reports? Is he the officer that was being investigated and they took him off this case? And they said, nope, you can't be associated with this case in any way, shape, or form. But yet he got the dog, right? He got the dog. Oh my gosh. See, here's the problem. A lot of people don't understand when there's tragedy, they find ways to use that to their advantage. And I think one of these is that, in my humble opinion. Yeah. So let's look at this. So Candy Florea, there's nothing in this report. There's nothing. Like, look, it doesn't say anything other than, let's see, she must have worked at the lab or the dog handler. I don't know. Floor mat from suspect vehicle, seatbelt from suspect vehicle. No exam requested. So they just sent him the floor mat and the seatbelt and didn't ask him to test for anything? Is that what it is? Oh, that's a good one. Possible. I think Payne said he didn't want the FBI's help because he knew what they would find. Brady violation. Yeah. That went to consultants and lawyers connected to federal agencies. I wonder if any of that money ended up going to the fees in regards to the University of Phoenix. I wonder if that $1 million went to any of that nonsense. Yeah, they made it work to their advantage. Like I said, agencies, if something happens, agencies will call up and say, hey, are you running any operations in our area? Right? They will do stuff like that. So it looks like they got the mat and the seatbelt and all this other stuff, but no exams were requested. So they just took them. And maybe that's why they wanted her to come and testify. All these things were taken, but they were no exam requested. Don't you think that's a little odd? Wait a minute. If I'm reading this correct, they took all these items out of his car and then they put no exam requested. And this was Candy Florea that accepted all these items on this test, and it said no exam requested. Maybe because they knew they weren't going to find anything. And she could testify, yeah, she got all these things. This was the chain of custody and verify, but nothing was requested to be tested, which is odd. Don't you think? I mean, this is a lot of work. Is this like fraudulent billing or, I mean, you hear about these things. Shannon Arredondo. She's on the state's list, I believe. Hold on a minute. Let me see. I think she is on the state's witness. I believe so. Hold on. Shannon Arredondo. Why does that name sound so familiar? Yeah, you can ask, could you FOIA? I've FOIA'd so much, and the ISP keeps pushing back. So they give you, by law, a certain amount of dates, and they actually emailed me and said that it would take longer than normal. Yeah. No, it says they were, Yeah, that's true. I'm assuming it's Brian's car because that's the only car that they've mentioned that's been taken into possession. They absolutely had to know they would find nothing. Maybe those documents we'd find out if the FBI was in the area prior to the merge. Well, they were actually in the area for some type of training. And that's what made me think maybe this is an exercise or an operation, something of that nature, like an in training type of service thing. I was thinking that at first. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see this. Let's see what this next report is. Swab of gas and this is odd, you guys. Look at this. All these tests say no exam requested. They take out these items and they say no exam requested. If they took those items, don't you think they would want it? Removed 70 swabs for lab submission. No exam requested. No exam requested. But yet, on this one, swab abstains from west bedroom on 2 markers T and U. What in the world? Why would they say no exam requested? There's Candy Floria's number again. Her name on the lab numbers. Let's look at this. Elimination prints. All right, where's the good stuff, guys? We're like not only on page 76. This is crazy. Totally wild. Pink blanket. Okay, so that's the pink blanket. Red hearts, which tested presumptive blood for proteins. Luminol, please test for blood. So this is the type of exam they requested. So when they say no exam requested, they weren't really testing Brian Koberger's stuff. How odd is that? Scroll to the end and go backwards. Okay. Holy moly, what a waste of resources. So if they didn't test Koberger's items they pulled out of his car, why even pull them out of his car? There are text messages and the sheath. Okay, let's look. This is David Middleman. Oh my God, Orthram. Othram. 21st of November, Othram. State of Police, Candy Floria. There she is. I can't believe someone said it was a sorority member. I just get a kick out of that. Okay, let me look at this. Candy Floria, 9 bio items. Oh, they submitted it. Who did they submit this to? Who did she? I guess she must have submitted it to Othram. Doesn't say. Jeff? Who's Jeff? Because it's a stain, I don't think you can effectively clean it off a surface. And using chemicals to clean it could potentially cause other problems. Best to just replace. What? I just got to the D2 office. We'll be there shortly for Liz Q. Not a problem. Will they need to do any photographs of him? January 4th, 2023. Jeff T. Oh, isn't that the FBI guy? Tanzano or whatever his name is. Jeff H. No, it says Jeff T. Jeff H. I was going to say, that guy sure gets around. JT, isn't that the FBI guy? The staining, let's see. Where does this begin? What is this? Biology, better results. Thank you for your team's hard work, especially Tara and Carrie, for added stuff today. Good morning. Thought I just had. We will need to get fingerprints from the 2 surviving roommates. If you could get those, they could be sent in the batch of evidence. I think Tara's planning to start on the latents this morning. That was November 20th. Why did they wait 7 days to get the roommates' fingerprints? What in the blank shady is that? Why did they wait 7 days? What? These are the skid marks. And the blankets where they were sitting, they just left their blankets there that the cops gave them in the middle of the street. They couldn't take them to another empty dumpster or something. That's just shady. Now, these skid marks, to me, in my humble opinion, they look like the person was going up the hill and skidded. Up the hill and skidded. Not down the hill and skidded. It looks like they're going up the hill and skidded. Or slid, or I don't know. Who knows? Let me see. Yeah, Jeff Tanzola is FBI. Oh, what? The underwear's still in the street right there on these text messages, guys. Look at that. Right there, the little pink pair of underwear right there. What the heck? Right there in the street. Right next to the skid marks. Wow. Okay, so let me see. Did you get, what did he say? Hold on a minute. This thing's weird. Might be delayed. Did you guys photo each window to show the position of the lock when you arrived? And then they send him a picture of skid marks. No fingerprints on Sheath. What? Let me see. What is this? Hey, it's Jeannie. Do you have the suspect's residence locked down? Are you getting a search warrant for it? Holy crap. This is November 16th. It's Jenny. Do you have the suspect's residence locked down? Are you getting a search warrant for it? On the 16th, we are past Grangeville, just past Cottonwood. Who's the suspect? Because this is in Idaho. It's apparently a violation of CJIS policy to have those photos on the global drive. It was recommended that you remove them immediately. Well, can't do anything about it tonight. What? We are at the A&W. Please let me know when you're done with briefing. By the way, that A&W is pretty good out there. Great, we'll see you here. Mountain Dew Zero acceptable. Never mind, found diet. Sorry to leave without talking to you again. Let me know if anything comes up. Otherwise, see you at 7:45. Enjoy the eats. Get some rest. Good job today. Thank you. I hope you get some rest tonight. I'm up at the house. We'll be there shortly. They're up at the house, 1122. Interesting. Okay. Let me go back. So that was the FBI guy, I believe, Jeff Tanzola. Othram. Raylene, this is in reference to the sample that was sent to the FBI, the chain. Okay. Permission to fingerprint Tara Martinez. Who's Tara Martinez? Witnesses. Oh, that's the fingerprint. Permission to fingerprint. Forensic scientist. Listen to this. We're working a quadruple homicide case with an unknown suspect. We have one latent print that was developed from the scene with amido black that we would like to have search against DOJ civil files if possible. Department of Justice civil files. Please request authorization to submit before searching. Thank you for your assistance in this. Please let me know if you need any more information to get approval. Wow. So they had a latent print way early. Didn't find anything in the civil database. Yeah, well, if you suspect a bunch of frats or sorority people, they're not going to be in a database. Or people who are, clean, not criminals. They're not going to be in a database. Unfortunately, we've searched all available databases with no identifications established. Duh. That was the DOJ email. Nothing was found. DOJ, that was redacted. Wow. What the heck? That's a long redaction. That doesn't make sense. Why in the world? Yeah, that's speculation. That's only what we're looking at. Speculation, guys. This is like a long redacted document. Let's see what this is. Working in the front door, walking the laundry room. This is an example of the layout. That was the search. Remember, the ISP couldn't go in until they got a search warrant. And they didn't get their search warrant signed off until like 5. So you're saying they had no DNA on the sheath? No DNA on the sheath. Are you saying there was absolutely no DNA on the sheath or nothing came back as tested? That's weird. Yeah, there's so many more questions now. Shoe wouldn't be in a database. No. But if they didn't have any shoes on and it was a footprint, like a real footprint, we examined all areas that would have only gotten into sink or drain if we found something. I saw the hair in the drain, so we documented it and collected it. If any of us had found anything of interest in any other of the sinks, we would have documented and collected those as well. We did test red-brown stains in the kitchen in the area of the sink, but most of them were presumptive negative. Any stains in the apartment that were presumptive positive were collected. In the kitchen, we definitely cannot pull apart the pipes under the sink in the U-trap, but the sink itself was examined. Hopefully this answers your question. So why did they find hair in the sink? Did somebody wash their hair in the sink? I'm wondering. You think somebody washed their hair in the sink? They placed the transfer DNA onto the sheath. Wait till you see the sheath nesters. No, Brian, I believe, but Amanda could be saying no DNA. The text messages said no fingerprints on keys on the sheath. Originally, when they tested, it was kicking back basically not enough material. Ooh, that's right. That's why Othram asked ISP to go grab more sample DNA from 4 brothers. ISP asked and got denied, then FBI took it, double it, and placed Brian's DNA when they got the work from Othram. That's how it started. Wow, what a messy mess. Wow, that's crazy. So let me take a look at this. This was known. Let's see. Let's see, y'all. If there was... All right. Let me scroll through these and look for pictures. Hold on. I'm going to try to go and find us some pictures because these are a lot of nothing. Please print for your records, photos, signature required, proof of delivery records. Come on. Yeah, I've been writing the DOJ, the governor. Raul Labrador is like a hit and a miss, guys. And if this was an operation of any kind, they are going to stay silent. And it's weird. Has anybody, and I mean anybody out there, has anybody heard back from Brian Koberger? Has anybody written, send him emails, tried to contact him through Getting Out or the Access JPay or anything of that nature? Anyone? Because it's weird that nobody has heard from him. Typically, I mean, people will hear from these people, especially if people are sending them money, right? I've never heard back, ever. Nope. Look at all this redaction. Jeez. No hit, no decision. This is wild. Yeah, I never heard back at all. Latent fingerprint verification report. Yeah, something's not right. Oh, by the way, did you guys see the released new footage of Kopaka? Have you seen that footage? You want to talk about strange footage. That is freaking strange. And we can take a look at it real quick, but I'm looking for these pictures in this document. Amanda, do you remember what pages that starts at? Because I know I saw the sheath and I was questioning. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I shared that the other day. He was given a stern warning to his constituents for sure. Kids. Lots of stuff going on down there. Not just the drugs, you know. Hurwitz has been involved in a lot of things. Yeah, if you can get me a page number, because there's like 2,000 pages in this thing. 2,556 pages. Lots of nothing. I was hoping we'd see some juicy stuff. Let's see. I know you sent me a couple screenshots. Let me see if I should just forward those to me. Let me take a look. Let me see. Let's see if it has a page number on it. Here we go. This is page 2 of 9. And this picture came from MPD. Yeah, hold on. It was saying 233, but I'm not sure. I was speed scrolling. Let me look. Moscow Police Department. Let me look in there. Let me see what this page number is. Doesn't give a page number. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can look at just the word. Surely does not make sense. All right, MPD. Nope. Let me look for Sheath. As of right now, the Sheath is their only evidence. They have no other evidence, is what we're being told, but we have developed some in the last few minutes. Recent developments in the last few minutes. On November 16th, this came from Riley Nolan. Okay. We're rolling a crime scene there right now. They do now have a suspect. They are following him to get surreptitious DNA sample. He does have blank blank. I don't have a name to check. Tina will be the persons performing the processing on the Sheath for Latent. Their evidence person is on vacation this week, who's filling in, yada, yada, yada. She's doing her best. Things are quite not right on Prelog. Wow. Interesting. Let's see what else we can find on the sheet. One knife sheath, collected samples. I just got back to the office. Have your permission to collect any samples from the sheet. I'm writing you the above mentioned case to ask for permission to consume any samples collected from the knife sheath. Lab item 1. About the backpack and beer can submitted for bio, backpack no longer believed to belong to blank. Beer cans do not know who they are from. He stated they cannot say any of these are from perpetrator. Would like to know if any from same unknown male as Sheath. Please advise so I can get these in CODIS. He said he understood that. The Sheath is here. All right, let's see what she says next. The Sheath is here. D3 trooper just called in and said the D2 trooper dropped it off. As of right now, the Sheath is their only item of evidence. Bill Thompson's of the prosecutor will be involved for the point of contact. Autopsies are occurring today in Spokane. Matthew is going to call their office to let them know what we need specifically for major case prime prints and DNA. Okay. Said he may not have a way. I'll stay checked until 5. He may not be here until 5. Okay, they're delivering them. It's just informed he'll be delivering it. They can request DNA, track and preserve, notified Matthew. He can arrange trace analysis. They do not have a suspect and are requesting this to be rushed to try to develop any possible leads. They have been made aware we need a reference samples and major case prints from all 4 victims. They indicated it appears one of the victims fought back and they had requested fingernail samples from her to be collected at autopsies. Wait a minute. It says, y'all, right here. I know you can read. I can read. Okay. They also indicated it appears one of the victims fought back. One. That must have been Maddie, because we don't see anybody else's fingernail prints. They don't talk about any fingernail samples except for Maddie. I believe the autopsies happening today or tomorrow. My guess will be when they happen in Spokane, but I do not have confirmation on that. So what in the world is this? They have been made aware that we will need reference samples and major case prints from all 4 victims. They also indicated it appears one of the victims fought back, and that's why you only see one of the fingernail clippings. What? Why would they only say one? That's weird. Okay, I'm going to find the sheath. Let me find this. That is so weird. Why would they only say one? K-bar sheath, swab. Let's find the next one. Let's see what else we could find. Front of strap, edges, portion handle, stains on back. I don't see any pictures attached to this. Phoenix, their fingers. Can we get prints burned off? And fingers do. Oh, yeah, that's true. It was delivered in a paper brown bag. Why is it in a paper brown bag? Doesn't an evidence bag usually plastic? Huh. Had evidence tape in a brown paper bag. All right, here we go. Page 230. Page 230. Let me make this a little smaller. Area swab, item 1.2. Note edges only. Handle portion. Side A, item 1. Let's see if I can make this a little smaller. All right, so that measures 15. All right, that doesn't look like it's been, what? That sure doesn't look like it's been used. Does it? It's brand new. It looks like it. There's no way that this could be just, this is crazy. This is side B. That looks like a new sheath. Look, no blood. That would be dark, dark red. This is leather. Spotless. Look at that. Never been, y'all, if this had been laying somewhere and it was in blood, that is, oh my God. This has got to be a new item. That can't be even a used sheath. There's no way. That doesn't even look used or worn or laying in blood. Jeez. They gotta think we're stupid. This date is 11/17/22. It was put into evidence on the 15th. Don't you think it would have more blood on it? Jeez. This is wild. And what is that little speck on there? Trace material collected. Wow. This is crazy. So page 230 is where the sheath starts. This is what all they were tested. This is so messed up. Jeez. No prints were observed or developed. I will be returning it to the submitting agency. Descriptions, conclusions, and interpretations stated above apply. The sample was received. I declare under penalty of perjury pursuant to the state law of Idaho, the foregoing is true and correct. Tina Wathall, forensic scientist. No latent prints were observed or developed. So tell me, how could they get prints off a sheet when there was no prints? Oh my God. I have seen it all now. Item 1 was processed for latent prints. No latent prints were observed or developed. All right, y'all, what are your thoughts? Now look at the sheath from December. Hold on. Let me grab it. Let me see. Wow. This is crazy. Yes. Let's see what it tested. Presumptive positive. How could it test presumptive positive? I examined the sheath. Presumptive blood testing was positive. Presumed. It was in this paper bag. Why didn't they put it in a plastic bag? They are they are two different ones. Okay, so this one doesn't look old either. Hold on a second. Doesn't give the date on this sheath. Oh, I'm going to keep going. I'm not stopping. I've asked the ISP for their documents and then they release this to the general public. You gotta be kidding me. I FOIA'd everything regarding this knife sheath, guys. I want it. I mean, ISP does not have a gag order or a protection order against them to not share pictures of where they found the knife sheath. There is no blood on this sheath. There is no date on this sheath. So how can they say we got this legally with no chain of custody? Submitted a swab. Okay, there's all the fingernail clippings. Result for chemical and the swab indicated presence of blood. Items 3, 9, 10, and 12. 3, 9, 10, and 12. Maddie and Kaylee's clippings. Yeah, there's more fingernail clippings. Wow, this is wild. Negative debris on item 4, which was Ethan's. Wow. Okay, so there was swab 4 indicated the presence of blood. Stephanie Willett. Fingernail, right clipping of Madison Mogan. Half a stain portion cut to DNA remaining on nothing. Let me see. Stephanie Wilt. Sorry. Positive, positive, positive. Positive. So they all had some type of blood under their nails. Whole swab cut DNA, weak positive. So all their fingernail clippings. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. That's what it sounds like. That Othram did the testing both times. First time it was inconclusive. The second time it doubles in size. That is exactly what Ann Taylor was saying in, I don't know how it doubled in size. That was the positive under the fingernail clippings. Well, why would blood be underneath their fingernails unless they scratched the attacker? Yeah, all of them had blood underneath their nails, it looks like. Yeah, I mean, you can see it. It all tested positive. This was their fingernails. So they must have got the perpetrator's fingernails. Maybe they scratched them and they bled. Is that possible? Yeah, nail has more blood than the sheath. All 4 victims had probably scratched their attackers. Look at that. Oh my God. You see where it tested positive. Jeez. No, I bet that's the chemical reaction under their nails that we're seeing. It's not the actual blood. It's probably just the chemical reaction. I'm just taking a wild guess, but that might be from, yeah, the swab. Yeah, we all know that they weren't sleeping now. That's terrible. What they had to make up that narrative. That's why I say they're busted. It looks like a man's nail clippings. Too big. Yeah, you've got a really great point. None of those nails and none identified Brian. They didn't even test the things that they took from Brian. Isn't that wild? They didn't even take tests. None. All right, y'all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to look through these documents. I know we've seen a lot tonight, but I'm going to go back and look through these documents. I'm going to pull out the most bizarre, important things. There was stains on the back of the sheet that said, let me see. Wow. Hold on one second. Hold on a minute. Taylor Maychuk wrote this report. So listen to this. Maddie Mogan is a potential contributor to the minor component of this mixture. That means that the mixture under her is possibly 2 individuals randomly selected from the general population. Ethan Chapin, Xander Kernoodle, and they redacted this, are excluded as contributors to this DNA mixture. But get this, they say the result of the mixture of DNA from Madison Mogan and an unrelated, randomly selected individual, that if it resulted from 2 unrelated individuals randomly selected from the general population. The partial DNA profile obtained from 1.2, who's 1.2, is a mixture of DNA from 3 individuals, at least one is male. Due to the low level results, no comparison can be made. The partial DNA obtained from 1.3 indicates the mixture DNA from at least 2 individuals, at least one which is male. But this is what caught my eye. The DNA profile obtained from 1.1 was determined to be from an unknown male. Ethan Chapin, report, are not the source of DNA on this item. This DNA profile was entered into the Combined DNA System Codex to be routinely searched in the database. The state agency will be notified in the event of a profile match. Under Kaylee, assuming 2-person mixture, the DNA from Kaylee and an unrelated random selected individual, that if it resulted from 2 unrelated individuals randomly selected from the general population. Wow. What a mess. What a mess. No, it said it was random. If it was in CODIS, it's not in CODIS right now, but they place it in CODIS in case that this person gets arrested or something, and then they possess the DNA, and then if it matches, they'll be told. Yeah, it'll be entered into CODIS and routinely researched against the database The case agency will be notified in the event of a profile match. Wild. Yeah, it says it was entered into CODIS. The DNA was entered into CODIS, which they lied, right? They enter it, and what they do is they code it as possible suspect for a crime. And then if they ever get arrested and they put it in the system, then it will come back to them and tell them, hey, this DNA had a hit in your case, and here's the report number, and there's the issue number. And it'll come back to the individual who entered it into the system, and it'll let them know, hey, we got a match. Yeah. Yeah, that's what they said. That's what you were told. That's what you were told. Yeah, that's weird. That is really weird. And they couldn't find it in CODIS. It says it was not a match. Yeah, that's cool. That was on page 262. Let me write this down so I'll remember too, or let me put it in my file. Hold on, let me pull it up. ISP docs. ISP 263. Let me pull that up. 263. ISP. This is what is this? 10/31/2025 doc release. 230 is the knife sheath pictures. And 263 is the DNA reports. 262. I have a running breakdown of all these reports so that I can find it simple. Okay, and let's see what else. There was the cost of the DNA. God, they charge $500 per person. Wow. Wonder if that was to Othram. I'll look at the invoice. 264 is swabs. Thank God they sent them off to the ISP. I don't know what in the heck was in their fridge, but I wonder if by any chance that ISP had the exact same stuff that they swabbed in their evidence lockers or evidence, some type of redundancy. Standards failed. Wonder what they failed at. Let me look. DNA 3. Not amplified. Moscow Police Department. What were these? Load sheets, ladders. They did DNA testing. But why in the world? Oh, I didn't have any candy tonight, man. I went out for lunch. There's a really good people that we know that are moving away. And I did have dinner. I had a real quick piece of pizza and some salad. So these are just markers for DNA on the worksheets. They ran the codes. Doesn't really tell us anything if we don't have the markers and what they were running. So this is just a waste of 65 pages. So let me add to, where are we at? 17 of 55. Let me add 40 to this and go to page 320. Maybe this will be over with. Yep. Okay, so these are more documents. Let's see. Bunch of forensic crap that doesn't make sense. Digital images, latent prints, comparison templars. There are 3 remaining latent prints captured at 1122 King Road. What does it say? It'll be continued. Items 25 to 28 are being retained. L5, Madison Mogan, excluded, Kaylee. Comparison to exemplars. No fingerprints were found on file for blank, blank, blank. Wonder what's L1, L2. Let me see if there's anything in the file that gives me L1 and L2. L1 and L2. Shoe impression not analyzed. That's L3. L4. L3 is a fabric impression. L4 is possible shoe impression. Ran a search on the records. Nothing found. This report. L2 will follow on assignment already started. What is L1 and 2? Latent prints L1, 2, and 6 were previously captured digitally at 1122 King Road. L1 and 2 and 6. 1, 2, and 6. There are 3 remaining latent prints captured. I wonder if they didn't find those 3 prints, 3 latent prints. Is that 3 individuals, or is that just 3? 3 additional fingerprints. Because they excluded Maddie, they excluded Kaylee. So is that 3 more? Latent print 5 was entered and searched through MBIS where there were no likely candidates that were generated. 4 exemplars bearing 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would make suspect, subject, there's 3 unidentified. So now on page 321, let me write this down. On page 321, now there are 3 unknown latent prints. Interesting. So they have a suspect and 2 subjects all throughout this document. There's that one pattern. Let's see. Wow. Wow. All right. So they had a suspect and 2 subjects, 2 accomplices. Would that be a possibility? That would be 3. Could 3 people have done this? I think I would believe more. I'm more likely to believe 3 allegedly instead of 1 narrative. So they eliminated, but it doesn't say where these latent prints were. It doesn't say where. Yeah, so they have 3 unknown latent prints, but it doesn't say specifically where. And the L1, L2, and L6, those are the 3. Let me just type that up real quick. 3 unknown prints. That was L1, L2, and L3. No, what am I saying that for? It was 5 and 6. Hold on. Let me go back. 1, 2, and 6. 1, L1, L2, and L6. So 3, 4, 5. Well, what were Xana and Ethan labeled as? L5, I figured that. Okay, so they were excluded. Then where's the last one? L5 had no candidates. They excluded. So there was 6, 4, 2. There's 1 missing. Oh, I see. L3 is a possible fabric impression. Well, what's a fabric impression? A hair, a fiber? What's a fabric impression? A fabric impression is the type of evidence that can result when fabric comes in contact with the surface capable of retaining the pattern. A fabric impression can be studied. Hold on a minute. Let me see what the rest of it is. Fabric impression. Is that the footprint? Fabric. Footwear? 2-dimensional. Fabric impression. So get this. In the evidence due page forensics, additional types of impression evidence can be footwear impressions, tire, bite marks, glove prints, lip, ear impressions, and fabric impressions. Oh, that's interesting. So it gives you a whole impression evidence. This is really interesting. I'll share this with you real quick. A hoodie, a knitted hoodie? I don't know. So there's many forms. Fabric impressions. So evidence in print, dust, dirt, floor, tile, glass, paper, drywall. That could be easy to remove. However, the print on a surface cannot be submitted to the laboratory. The crime scene technician may preserve the print in a manner similar to lifting a fingerprint. A large enough piece of lifting materials laid over the print, rollers used, and eliminating any air pockets. The lifting is then removed from the print surface. Once analysis evidentiary, some questions can be sized, shape, or difference. That's interesting. I wonder what they found. I wonder what they found. What is it? It was had to be clean. Oh, yeah, that was clean. That was a clean sheath, a foot or a blanket. I'm thinking blanket. Because they took the blanket. Remember they took Dylan's blanket? So, I wonder. Fabric impression. Oh, this is interesting. Listen to this. Bingo. Here we go. This one is Forensic Science, the Dictionary, Oxford reference. A type of impression evidence that can result when fabric comes in contact with the surface capable of retaining the pattern. Fabric impression can be studied for a class characteristics such as weave or whether the fabric has unique features such as tears, wrinkles, creases, or wear patterns. Fabric impressions can also be left by contact of a cloth with a dusty or bloody surface. So if you look at this report, sorry, that was a boo-boo. If you look at this report, it just says fabric impression. Let me do a search. That was on page 326. Nope, nothing. Let me see if I can find what L3 was. Let's see. Come on, L3. I'll take, where is L3 for 200? L3 were latents. They were collected via photography from the following: the second floor west bedroom, L3, the second floor east bedroom threshold. No shit, Sherlock. Second floor east bedroom threshold was Dylan. The second floor east bedroom threshold, L4, was the edge of the handle from the interior kitchen sliding glass door. L5 was above the handle of the exterior kitchen sliding glass door, L6. So L3 is the second floor west bedroom. Okay, that's L3. That's the latent print. So there were more than one latent print, y'all. L4 is the second floor east bedroom threshold. The threshold is where you walk across the door. The threshold of a door. That was L4. Let me write this down too. The edge of a handle from the exterior is L5. So we've got L3, L4, L5. L1, L2. So let me go back to my notes. Hold on. If I'm looking at this, we've got L1, 2, and 6 unknown latent prints. L6 was on the sliding glass door, unknown. L6 was unknown. L5 is the handle on the door. It didn't mention L5. L1 and 2 are the unknown. So let me go back. Hold on a minute. Okay, so the second floor east bedroom, L4 was Dylan's room. L4 is Dylan, because that floor is east. Second floor east bedroom threshold, L4. Okay, so let me go to L3. It looks like those were identified, L3. I would modify the latents L3 through 6 vehicle to be oh, they were telling them how to write the report, it looks like. Latent prints were observed before processing. They were all, hold on a minute. Let me go to the next L3 because that's 35. Latent prints, that's 35. Nope, and then it takes me back to the fabric impression. All right, that's the page 326. Interesting. So obviously that was the latent print outside of Dylan's door. Wow, this is wild. Yeah, anybody can say that, but where's the proof? Where's the proof? Yeah, anybody can say that, but you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt. If they can prove it, then great. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard the same thing. I don't know. Fabric impression. Maybe they leaned up against someone. Yeah, let me go back up. Around the corners of the mouth. Could be. Could be. Yeah, it's possible it could be an example of a fabric impression. Yeah, but you know, if they were fighting, and let's just say someone, this is a really good example. If, yeah, they kneeled on the arm and it left an impression where the blood was, and let's just say that it would make that type of imprint. That's a possibility. Yeah, thanks for that explanation. That's interesting. Wow. All right. I know I've been on for a little while. I know it's late. I'm going to look at some more of these documents, make some really good notes. I think I redacted a lot, of course. That would be too simple for us to be able to just take a look and pick out what we need. But no, they want to redact, redact, redact. You know, I'm just shocked at some of these autopsy reports and the amount of stabbing that was done to the head and the scalp. I mean, that is just like, what's the word I want to use? Barbaric. Barbaric. You know, it's just wild. I mean, why would even somebody be doing something like that? That's just no exam. Yeah, Amanda, that's what I was saying, in especially Koberger's items that they removed. They removed everything out of his car, but never specified any testing. Never testing. It's wild. All right, y'all. I'm going to look through these documents. I'll be back probably Saturday evening, maybe not. I'm not sure yet. But if I do, I will make sure that I put alive in StreamYard so you guys know that I'll be alive. But I'm going to definitely look through the rest of these documents. There's some things that I caught, but I want to verify it. But you guys, I know it's late, especially if you're on the East Coast. Central, West Coast is still early, but I am hitting the hay. It's been a long day, and I've got a lot to do in the morning. So I wish you all well. It was nice to be here, and these documents, they're just going to keep on coming. This one has over 2,356 pages. I bet over 2,352 pages are just a bunch of BS. So, in my humble opinion, y'all get some rest. Have a great weekend and enjoy your families. Be well, y'all.
Dusty roads behind me, it was in my veins. They tried to cage my spirit, bear me in chains. I feel the fire rising where my heart used to ache. Breaking through the ashes, watching through dawn of day. Shadows shout their warnings, but I keep moving on. Digging for my justice till the breaking dawn. Now rise up like a phoenix right at dawn's first light, tearing off my blinders, scorching through the night. No more chained by rumors or the poison lies. I'll find my freedom when the truth will rise. Forward ever, onward, never looking back again. Stepping out the darkness, feel the roaring wind.
Echoes of the doubters trying to slow my pace. Thunder in my footsteps, feel the wind I chase. Chains can't hold my spirit, justice is my crown. I'm riding into sunrise, claiming every town.
No fear in my reflection, shedding every guise. In the roar of freedom's course, hear my battle cry. I rise up like a phoenix riding north's first light, tearing off my blindness, scorching through the night. No more chained by rumors or the poison lies. I find my freedom where the truth will rise. Forward ever, onward, never looking back again. Stamping out the darkness, feel the roaring wind.